Upper Motion. This app is about £40 on the App Store. This is strictly for Apple computers, particularly. You may find it comes up as Apple motion5, or if you've got an older version of Mac, it'll come up as Apple Motion, and that's it. For this project, I'm going to be doing a motion project, a blank project, 1080p obviously. I'm going to go for 30 frames or 29 frames per second, NZXT, this is pretty good for me. This is only going to be a 10-second clip, there's nothing going to be too special about it. It's just going to be a basic draw up. So now I've got my motion up. Right, now for this, what I'm doing is I'm going to build a 3D room, or like a 3D garage, and it's going to be like a brick wall garage, and in this little room we will be having a logo spinning. It don't have to be any particular logo, so what you want to do is you want to head over to Google, and you're going to want to type into Google wall textures 1080p. I would go through a few of them. Right, things you've got to look out for when you're doing this is pictures are not too small. This one's perfect, which I'll probably end up using anyway. Some that may be pixelated or badly drawn, or not the kind of right texture for you. You got to think of your practical idea. See, something like this, you could spray paint an outline of your name onto it, which should be quite easy to do and quite simple. I can show you guys how to do that at some point, and that's really easy. Now what we want to do is figure out what picture we want to use, which we know already. We're going to right click, we're going to save that. We save this as wall MOD. And we're going to keep down that game pick file, because that's where we'll always find our stuff. I tend to not keep it in there only when I'm doing editing, because it's easier to have it there. Right, now that's there. That's perfect. We may get another texture to use as cement. Let's have a look at this. That kind of looks pixelated. So it sometimes takes a little bit longer to load up as well. It actually tends to cause a problem with the overall look of the image. We're going to call this post 3D MODL. Now we're going to make posts like concrete structures. Okay, that's perfect. Now all you got to do, come off of this. Sorry if I sound a little bit nasally, my nose is not too nice right now. Right, now what we want to do is we want to first off fit the screen, so we have a proper layout here. You want to go to your little camera button down here, which is this. This will switch your video to 3D. If you do it properly, it'll sometimes show switch to 3D button here, which is important to us. You want to go to view, and we're going to use a 3D grid and a 3D view tool. That's all set up for us. So if we go on here, bingo, there we go. You can see the grid. Now this grid is going to help us a lot. It's going to help us determine where each piece is going to be and how it's going to look. We're going to add other cameras to this, which are going to be manipulated through motion paths and things like that. Motion paths are things that you can make an object, or like an image, or like a JPEG, move from one space to another, or in a certain way, and make it speed up, slow down, even spin if you like, whatever you fancy really. Right, so let's go ahead and get our images. I'm going to go to my game pick file if I can find it. Where is it? I got a lot of mess on my desktop. Some of this stuff's just stuff to do with my current PC build. I will be letting you guys know about that. It is still a little bit way away, no doubt. Oh, that's my old texture, I don't need that. That's a really ugly texture one. It's just little bits and bobs, you know. Right, let's close that. Awesome. Right, now let's get a look at our pictures here. We got, this is going to be our posts, because we're going to be duplicating that, and this is going to be our background wall. So if we go to library or inspector, properties, you can change the position. So what this does, it transforms the sides and the shapes. So if I go like this, that moves its position, and you got your scale here, and its angle, so you can make it make it look retarded. Which we don't really want to be worried about, so we're going to zero that out right now. Honestly, I personally don't use the scale button here. I prefer to do it by hand just to see where I'm at. Right, what we want to do is this is going to be our background image. This is where our logo is going to be. So we need to shrink it down to size. Now the camera view tools are very annoying on this. That's the only problem I find with motion5 is the viewing tools are very annoying because when you try to move it across, it's moving actually up. Okay, so we're in a good position now. You can see straight away that's actually out of our screen. Just not what we want. Right, let's get a look. So it needs to come down. We can use the grid as our basis, and this grid, it's just something we can use. You know, it's nothing particular. It's not the permanent fixtures. It's set up to the way we design our layouts. Now, if we go back to our position, we can change where it sits. It's better to do it with the positioning tools than actually by hand this part, because you can actually get it more accurate as to where you need it to be. I don't have a editor's mouse and keyboard yet, which I'm probably looking to invest in the near future. Depends how well this YouTube thing goes for me, and if I still want to do it in the next few months. Alright, so that's a pretty clean wall. This already has some lighting on it because of the image itself, but we're going to add a light. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this button here to scroll out. So what we're going to do is our camera is going to see this view right here, and the top here is going to have walls, the bottom here is going to have floors, and here is going to have another wall and another wall, and there'll be a square image all the way across here. If I go like this, this is what you guys are going to actually see, this image, but this stuff, this won't be here. So let's go back to our rectangle tool and delete that. Boom. Right, that's just a general stencil of how things are going. These tools here, these are the 3D tools, so you can use them to manipulate the image. So you can go like this, change its Y positions. It helps with certain things. And see now I've made that wonky. I still don't think that's straight. Okay, that is fairly straight. Now you can check our values on here, because the values just tell you the position of the object, how far across it is, how laid bare it is. Right, now what we need to do is I'm going to duplicate this. So right click and you want to go to duplicate. It's going to spawn it, or not spawn it, I'm thinking of a game. It's going to duplicate on the exact same spot. So we're going to need 2 for the walls, and I'm going to use something else for the ceilings. Right, now what we're going to do is this main image here, we're going to lock this. And the reason we're going to lock this is so it stays where it is, because I'm fine with how it looks and how it's going to be. It won't affect any of the other models. Unless I need to adjust it, I can unlock it. So this little icon here, you press that, and what it does is it locks that image, and it stops you from tampering with it. You can't even click on it. You can click on these, but you can't move it, and then when you go to click off that, you can. That's the idea of that particular tool. It works pretty well. Motion5 is good, but it helps to know what you're doing. There ain't many tutorials out there. There's a few people on YouTube, you know, there's a couple. There's a guy from a company called the Tokyo Productions. They do some pretty cool stuff with motion5. It's not easy stuff. Some of this is, it just takes a little bit of initiative, really. Some of the stuff I come up with it's just mixed mashups of things and accidents I've actually come across because of doing something wrong, which is quite funny actually. And it just varies, you know. You just try and enjoy it, you know. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it's your work, you know. It's up to you if you want to make it more perfect or less perfect. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure this is a 90-degree angle, because you can see straight away that is nowhere near, and it's actually wonky as well for some unknown reason. Oh no, it isn't. It's just slightly lowered. Now what we want to do is we want to pair that corner up with the other corner. Now you don't actually have to fully pair this up, because this is going to be going through the wall like this. You can size it, reshape it, stretch it these parts of the image you're not going to see, which is these excess edges. So this overhang here, you won't see it when you do the overall view, which is where you place your camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to stretch that puppy out all the way, and you can start to see the wall. So if we move in, we're going to move our camera angle a bit as well in a sec. We go to this image again. We still need to adjust that image a lot. You can see it's starting to envelop the screen that we're on. So if I move this across, like so, it's starting to envelop the whole image. So when I click like that, you can still see there's bits and bobs that need adjusting. So we'll go back and do that. You can see the gap right there. That's the very first thing we notice. And when you put the lights on this, you will see it straight away. You'll be like, hang on a sec, this is not, don't look right, you know, don't feel like it's in the right position, and you just need to go back and adjust it. Some of this stuff does take a lot of time to do, but you just need to be patient with it. I would recommend making sure you've got spare time on your day off or whatever it is that you intend to do, because this does consume large amounts of your time sometimes. I did a Pac-Man edit on here the other day. It took 3.5 hours and it still weren't perfect enough for me. It moved, but it didn't move fluidly. It moved, because I use something called a motion5. They're pretty cool to use. It moves fast and it slows down at the end, but it don't move smoothly. I could use something called a write-on, where you get a pen and you just draw around the image, like you when you're drawing around the maze or something, when you want to cheat at the actual mazes and stuff, of course. So I still feel very nasally. I'm not ill or any kind of way, I just got a bit of a snotty nose for some reason. Okay, so straight away you can see there's a huge difference in how that image is looking. You don't need to worry about this being oversized, because we're going to add a floor right here. This is not going to be seen by anyone other than us, obviously. And when you come to use this image, it's going to be, or this video, this duration is 10 seconds long, so we'll be doing other stuff besides the motions. I may even save this image, then this 3D frame, and then come back to it once I've done all my motion paths. So I might save it, make all my animations in a separate thing, using the same stencil, but because it's saved already, it won't crash. That's another big problem with Apple Motion, is it can lag, it can slow down. The RAM on these things is not very good. They should have really updated them, and for a computer that I spent 2,200 on this, and it should have an i7 core, you know. For such a powerful, very high-end machine, it should be something special. I mean, the look of it is amazing, no doubt. It's a good-looking computer, but it needs to have something different, you know. It needs to be powerful. It's a powerful computer, and we've always known Apple computers to be powerful, fast machines, and very modern computers. Very different from Windows, of course. I mean, no disrespect, there's different. There's gonna be. Even like the codings are different for each thing. I do enjoy playing on Windows computers. I do actually play on them as well. I plan to edit on both Windows and PC, Mac and PC even. I'll stop being a retard. Okay, so we've just got to have a look at our general shape now, as, yeah, it's wonky. This doesn't really affect us too much, but we kind of want to space out the sides anyway, because we're going to widen it out like a top of a bucket kind of thing. Okay, that wall is actually wonky though, just slightly off page. That is worst angle. So that might be right. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's good. Right, these images, you can always adjust them, move them up and down, shake them. If you're happy with the position, you could then look at the position. So when you click on an item, it will show up on this menu here. You can have a menu down here as well. On this version of Mac, it's a little bit different. The motion paths and the animations, things like that, they show up in little cogs on here. On Apple Motion, on old versions of Mac, it shows up as one independent strip that's just purple. it's different for each thing. It will only show up purple on this bar here, which is your timeline. Or your frames, your line with your frames, basically. Right, now I want to go back to this image and I want to make that depthy. Here we go. Now you got to be cautious not to stretch them too much because you're obviously going to pixelate the image. Pixelation is not very good for the quality of the image, but because this is a 1080p image and I'm only stretching it over a length that's actually smaller than 1080p, it doesn't affect me at all. Right, so what we're going to be looking at is this right here. So if we change our camera angle, come down, this is what we're going to be seeing in our view. This is where we're going to be looking, and everything is going to be happening in this little box here. Right, so we want to add a roof now and a floor. Now I want to make them different, obviously, because it's this is different. So you can't make the floor out of bricks as well as walls. This is weird. You know, you don't look right. It's good to try to keep some aesthetics and appeal to the look of the image proper, you know, because it affects how your overall work's going to be and how people's view your work, you know. It shows good productivity, it shows good good thinking, which is also very important. As you can see, this wall needs to be moved down, but first thing I'm going to do is flatten out this wall. Moving your camera angle as well, or your viewing angle, does change the position of each of the angles you're turning it to. So if you're at this angle, it'll only turn that way, but when you're at a different angle, it turns a slightly different way. Okay, so our image is looking kind of right. I do need to adjust the floor a bit more. It looks a little ridiculous. It's bugging out a little bit there. Come on, come on. Don't play silly buggers. So it's kind of bugging out right now because it's stenciling around other images. Now, because these are JPEGs, it should be okay for compressing. But when you come to compress files, it's a little different for each thing. Like, I've been using Apple ProRes 422 for my my Final Cut Pro. Mine's called Final Cut Pro X, but it's exactly the same thing. There's no difference at all. It's just called a different name. I don't know why they've done that. It's such a weird thing, but they've done it anyway. It is a pretty cool tool to have. It helps you a lot with these kind of things. So what we want to do is we're going to duplicate this again because we do need a ceiling, which I've completely forgotten about. Duplicate, and then we're going to move it up. Boom, right there. Now, as you can see, this is going to be the room you're going to see. You're not going to have to worry about so much everything else going on around it. You don't need to worry about how ugly this looks or how long. You don't even have to make this as long as it is. It's just my personal aesthetics, you know. Don't worry about stuff like that so much because you're not going to see that. When you put your camera in, you're going to choose where your camera's going to go and how far it's going to reach, and your camera's going to reach into here. So if I can move my viewing tool a bit better. The 3D viewing tools in this are good, but they need a little bit of adjusting, really. It would be nice to have some kind of different mouse for... I think there is a 3D editing mouse, but I don't know if they do it for Mac. So if I click off the screen, this is what you're going to see. This is going to be a room. Obviously, if we see any gaps around these edges, this is actually pretty light because of these walls, but I may add a light in the background just to get it a bit of a boost. And obviously we're going to put out right in there. We're going to maybe elevate it maybe about 2 meters up. We're going to put some posts here. I'm debating whether to put one in the middle, but I probably won't. I know what I might do. What I might do is I'll build a wall right through the middle here. And what it will be, it'll be a window. And this window is going to be like a test lab window. And inside there will be a little logo getting electrocuted or something like that. We could probably make that happen. Or something's getting burnt or something like that. We can do that. We could probably get burnt, but the file, we may have to actually compress this first before we can do anything like that. Right, so when we put our camera in, the camera's going to be probably the most important part of how this image is going to work and how it's going to look. It's going to give the feel to your video. Right, so What we're going to do is we're going to go here. Oh, no, not there. You need to go to Windows. View. Where did I get camera from last time? Lost my knobs. Okay, you click on the camera button. Right, now the camera, you see where this camera is positioned, it will show you up here in the top left. Now this is named camera 1. You can change the name of the cameras if you want. You don't have to actually keep it the same name. What we want to do is want to look for that camera now. And there's our camera right there, see? Our camera has been purposely positioned right already by the software. If I can move back and stop being a retard. Okay, these parameter keys are very annoying. Let's move way back. Okay, you can see our camera. This camera, just like a normal camera, it has your parameters, an area that it can record in. Now, the studio cameras and movie cameras, they're very different. There's cameras like the Phantom camera. These, they catch at 120,000 frames per second. Now, little fact for you there, the Phantom camera was first made for the movie The Matrix. It was the very first camera to use those kind of models, and it was the only one of its type. It's the very first camera that could do 120,000 frames. That's a £500,000 camera right now. It's probably worth more now. Right, so if you look at this camera view up here, you can see there's already a problem with how the camera's sitting, and that's because every time you move it, it resets. So what we want to do is we want to change the size of this camera a little bit. We can either move it in, we can move it out, we can shake it all. That's sad. There you go. Right. And now you can see it's starting to fill the image. Now what you want to look for is how the position of the image is. If it's wonky, you know, if it looks like it's cack-handed. Because at the end of the day, this is going to be the image you're going to see, which I can't really show you too well. It doesn't really tend to show too well. But your image shows up here. At the moment it looks kind of sketchy. Whoa. Okay, and obviously your tools right here depict where your camera's going to be. Camera's focus. I may need to move that out and then move the camera's focus in. No, that's not going to work. Whoa. That kind of don't look good. Don't want a file plane. Let's turn the file plane right off. No, actually I need that a little bit. Whoops. I don't want it fading near the end. So our camera view is going to depict on how it's going to look in the event, the video. Alright, so am I happy with that camera angle, how it looks? We can add parameter behaviors to this camera, so we can make it do things like shake, swivel. So what we'll do is we'll go to the camera itself. We can right click. Actually no, we won't go to the camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the camera itself, so it's highlighted. We're going to go to this little cog here. You can go in the library menu as well and find this. You want to go to camera, and you want to go to Dolly Focus, and there's certain things you can do. Just go for Dolly, and alright, we want to Dolly at contrast. We're going to make it, let's make it accelerate, decelerate. I'm going to keep on contrast, so I have no idea what that does, so let's put it up. When we press play, it will do things on its own. Now you won't see any of this. What it will do is it will show, so as you can see it's like a slow motion. To make this go faster you can add it up obviously, but what you can do is you can shorten the bar itself. This is a camera motion. The motions are the biggest part of this software. They do varying different things. So if I wanted to make this go faster, what I do is I bring that bar down and I yank up the volume. And as I do that, it goes bing, really fast. Now if you want it to go faster, slower, you slow it down, speed it up. You know, I don't really need to say much more than that. Alright, let's go back to our camera. We're going to add Dolly again. And what we're going to do is we're going to subtract it from its last result. So 3,142. We're going to go minus 3,142. Ah, what that's going to do for us is, because this bar is actually longer as well, we're going to shorten it as well. So I'm actually not going to keep it too short, this bar, because I do want it to slowly speed up. What I like to do is make these bars about the same length, so that their duration is the same, as long as this measurement here is the same. So you've got to remember, Dolly is going in, and Dolly 1 is pulling out. This is kind of fucked up saying it. So when you press play, focus in, focuses out. Goes, when you see the image, you're going to see the screen's going to pull in, out, really quickly. And that's the idea of it. Right, now we need to add lighting. I'm not going to actually bother. I mean, as a proper photo editor or someone who does photography, you should add lighting. It's important to the image and how it looks, and if you're going to get all the details you want. But I'm not too fussed about this, because these colours on the textures I've been using, obviously the wall texture is actually quite light for some reason. Actually, I do know the reason. Right, the camera I'm going to leave as it is. Right, I need to lock the camera, otherwise I'm going to end up knocking that. So let's lock both the cameras. So we still get the parameter views. No, we don't get the parameter views. What the fuck's that all about? Now, the only reason I want to move this, why can't I lock the cameras without the parameter views? Okay. Now, we can focus on how our image is going to look and what we're going to put inside this tiny little box. Tiny box. Right, when you go to type stuff in 3D boxes, it may not show up in the box because it's actually behind the box. So you can click and type it, and then just use your 3D viewing tools to find it, and then you can move its position by clicking on the mouse key here, which is already on. And what this will do is will give you the parameter tools. Because it's on 3D already, you'll be able to move it back and forward using the properties. So let's make a text. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 3D text in, as this is going to be a 3D model, and straight away you can't see anything, so it's definitely not going to be inside this box. Okay, so nothing's gonna come. Right, right, what do you want to put? Right, was detected font. Right, okay, so that basically, when you get fonts off of websites like the fonts, if it's not been made properly, your computer will not it won't work properly with the specific font that you're using. Like this font I got off there a while ago, and this causes problems with rendering, and if you got to use these motions in videos and stuff, it causes problems with compression to YouTube, because they can't figure out why the code's not working properly for them, and it's because some fonts like this don't work properly, and you're thinking, oh, why the fuck does it not work? It's best to stick with some of the stuff they've got. Obviously some things not so good, but you know, you've got choices, you can make things different. You don't always have to stick to these. So if I go to, let's go to glossy green, why not? Because I fancy putting glossy green, right? Right, now let's go back to the text tool, because that was the one I was on. And we'll go, boy, bad boy. Okay, now this font doesn't look like much right now, of course. One thing I've got to do is resize it, but we'll come to that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to size it now, and I'm going to resize it once it's done. Right, now we've got this, we need to go to properties and have a look through our parameters. So look if it's good. This is a 3D model, so we should be able to do a few things with it. Oh yeah, right. You need to go on to text after you've typed it in 3D. You go to appearance, and then you want to go to where it says material. Now you can change this variant, so if you want to put multiple, this will put different layers, so all the sides, all the edges, make it look a bit different, you know, it would look a bit crazy. As you can see, it's already got an edge on it. You can make it depthier as well, so if I went to depth, I can make it as thick as a brick or as thin as a waffle or a wafer. A waffle. Right, front edge. Now this, you can add your own textures to this, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to use ones. Right, now the colour of our background's poopy brown, so we need something that's going to stand out a little bit. It's got to stand out so that we can see it amongst all of that other stuff. It could be darker or it could be a lot lighter. Right, I ain't going to go for chrome gold or copper or anything like that. Reason being is it's not going to be... I don't know what to choose actually. Ooh, this is a nice one. And when I go like this, voila, you see that? And it's pretty cool. Now you got the front edge. Now this is the front edge. See this white bits on the front here? That's what it will colour. So let's go to metal. Let's make that gold. This one I'm going to make gold. Boom. See? Now if you wanted to change the sides, now this side edge, because it's a 3D model, you need to cover all aspects. So this is going to be the side edge. So if we go to metal again, boom, there you go. Can't really see it too well, but this edge here on the side of the letters is now gold. Now we're going to do it once again. This is going to be the back edge, just like the front edge was. It's going to be the same kind of thing. You can see that gives it a little bit of an outline. That's quite cool. And then we're going to go back to gradients. So I'm going to choose the blue one just to top off the image. And you can see straight away. Now you can add motions to this logo. But what I prefer to do first is get it into position and where I'm going to want it to be in my little building here. First off, I'm going to make sure it's in the right area, which it's nowhere near, so I need to drag it over. Okay, now I need to drag this bad boy up. Okay, so now we've got the logo in the room. That's a good thing. Right. Why don't I... Okay, that might be a bit of an issue. We got like... that's perfect. Alright, now we've got a logo right where we want it to be. We've got a shape. We can add shadows to this. We can beat it around the room. Whatever you want to do. Right, there we go. Right. Now... Okay, what we want to do. What do we want to do? Okay, the sides is actually alright. Let's just give it a little tweak here and there. I kind of want it like it's sticking off the wall. Now I want to make sure its position is not too far against the back wall, because when we go to do things like rotate this, it will actually go through the wall. It'll look a little bit dumb, and we don't look like idiots, do we? So you're going to go, you click on your text and you're going to go to the cog again. You can do this all from the library as well. So you go libraries, go behaviours, and each one does different things for the font. So if I go like this, when I press play, see, like that, each one does a different thing. But remember, the thing with these kind of projects, especially if you get really in depth to them, always save at certain points, because it can lag out if you've got a lot of stuff going on. It can slow your machine down, and the best way to go about it is to actually turn off your Wi-Fi as well, so you don't get too many things coming into the computer at once. You can then focus your computer CPU and its RAM on the sole purpose of making edits and motions. Right, so there's loads of different motions. Now, you always get a viewing screen on the top here, and they all do different things. So if I scroll down my keys, these are all for images and things. They all work pretty well. Some tractor songs, there's literally so many choices. Right, you can even make the camera dolly, you can make the image dolly. Because this is going to be in an enclosed room, some things don't actually matter so much. So bringing an image together like that one I just saw won't make a difference to me, because it's not really going to affect the way it looks. Because it appears out the wall, it looks like, okay, how did it come out the wall? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, that one. So what you can do is you can make one come in. So when you press play. Okay, that didn't make any sense. You see it before it's actually come out. Okay, that's not good. Let's remove that one. Some things will work on this, some things won't. It's just a little bit of a tinkering, really, till you figure out what you prefer. There's literally so many things on here. See, it's just started to lag on me. So when I click apply, nothing's going to happen. It may even shut this down, so we need to be cautious here. So I'm going to make this as a save as point. Save point 1. Applications. No, we're going to make this go to desktop. Click media, any external media will be required for this document. I'll do a copy to folder one. Okay, so that's saved. Now, if it bugs out like it is right now, some things don't apply, because what it does is the software is trying to figure out will it work with this particular thing, and also I've not actually clicked on anything. So what I'm going to do, so I'll make sure I'm on the specific thing I want to add this behavior to. Click apply, and when I press play, Bert's boy, what we'll do is we can add a few motions in between, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an end motion. So there's another one here called deal out. Now what we want to do is we want to add it, so wherever your bar is down here is where that motion will start. So if we go to apply again, oh no, it won't. Okay, what the fuck? Sometimes some things do start at that point. Now as it comes in, it'll go just out, just the same way as it went in. Now there's a few things we can do in between. We can make it shake, we can make it rattle, we can make it spin, we can make it our bitch, you know, whatever you want to do. Okay, so let's press play and see what we have so far. Now you won't see any of these parameter buttons or anything like that. All you'll see is this image. Now you can see it's getting slower now. Now this is because the computer's struggling to achieve what it's doing. Now this is why we needed an i7 core in Macs, because these are very well known for video editing and stuff, and you need to be able to compress files with these computers, and if you can't compress files, it's kind of stupid. Right, let's see if we can find wriggle. So we're gonna W-R-I-G-G wriggle. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a wriggle to specifically for our image. So what we're gonna do is make sure, where's the bar? The bar's right at the beginning, so you want to be able to see what we're doing. So I'm going to add wriggle. Now wriggle, right, it's going right across the whole bar. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make it to the length of where the last motions start and finish, so that when I go to finish that, it will turn instead, it will start shaking immediately after. You want to head over to your inspector, and you're going to choose your amount, which is like 100%. Apply modes. I'm going to go to add and subtract, because it doesn't matter for this. I'm going to make its frequency about that. So it doesn't matter what your frequency is. You're not linking it to anything so much. So when you press play, images coming in, nothing's happening. Okay, so there's a problem right there. We've got offset. Let's make that. Let's see what that does. Some things will work, but it's tricky to make them do what you want to do. Right, generate. Alright, let's reset that from the beginning and let that just sort of run. And not a fucking thing. Okay, we need to. Right, so we're going to offset it like that, and we're going to. That's probably what's actually wrong here. It sometimes might not even show up at first because of the compression of the files. Apply to. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. Now let's turn the wriggle off, because I don't really want that now. It's kind of bugging me. So what can we do? We can make it spin. Let's make it spin. There's still a few things we can do. 3D models are a little bit comprehensive. They're a bit annoying to use. So we're going to go on to basic motions. We can fade in, fade out, grow, shrink, move, motion path. Now this is going to be fun. Now motion path will be a line, and what will happen is this is where from one point to another the writing will travel to. So from this point it will move all the way to there. So when I press play, it will go. Now to change this, what you want to do is you're going to go to the inspector, you're going to go to behaviors, and you want to go to path shape. You can do it to geometry, you can do it to other images. So if you've got an image on there of like a oblong shape, you can make it follow that geometry. So let's make it go circle, and what happens when we press play, it will follow that path. It's very sad, but yes. And as it fades out, it goes. Now there's a few things we can do with this motion path. There's quite a few things. This is just a basic motion. There's so much more you can do with the tools you have available. I'm probably going to look to get a new microphone as well, because this one The Blue Yeti is a really good microphone, but it's got problems of its own, amongst other things. So, right, we need to find that motion path and see if we can move its position. Properties, here we go. I want to move it back to the center because this is where the predominant of our stuff is going on, our shit's going on. Let's not beat around the bush here. Right, so when I press play, right from the beginning, please. You'll come in. You won't see any of this stuff. You won't see the squares, the outlines, anything like that. You know, don't worry about that. And then there it goes. And you can make it start and end point depending on where you prefer it to be. So if you need it in a different area, you can make it there. So you got like the amount of loops it can do, which direction it goes in, contrast. So you can make it accelerate, decelerate, ease in, ease out. Depending on the percentage it goes to, you can choose its endpoint as well. Because obviously, if you go here, see the endpoint's actually there, and then it fades out right there, and that's it. Right, now let's have a little bit more fun now. Right, I'm gonna lock all this stuff up because I don't need it all. For this next part, I won't need any of it. Right, so libraries. We're gonna go to. We can go to either replicators or particle emitters. I think particle emitters works. Let's close this search bar first. Each of these are pre-made particle emitters. These are made up using various tools. It's a lot more in-depth with this, but as a beginner, it's good to use something like this. It just helps you out. Now, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a flame. Because the flame, that's an explosion. We could probably use an explosion. Big blast, not blast. Big rain. Now you got to remember two things about this. Particle elements cannot be recolored. You can't change the color of them sometimes. Some things do, some things don't. It depends how they were made originally. And if you change any of the parameters on the actual mirror itself, because these are pre-made by other people, it may affect the overall look of the image. This, you could actually make a motion path using the same path you just used for the circle, and it would follow the rain. Right. My keyboard keeps knocking about, and I don't know if there's something stuck underneath it or not. Right. Now we're looking for. There's loads of different elements here. There's definitely a lot of choice. I feel like you're excluded to certain things, and on the web, there's always, pretty much always, somebody who's got it has like a template you can use at any point. Okay, I need to undo the project itself to actually access all of this. Now apply. Now that will apply, and bingo, that's right where I wanted it to be as well. That's cool. It looks like a 2D image, but the motion it will go to. If you look at all this stuff, this is all the shit that comes with doing motions and stuff. It happens a lot, you know. It's not avoidable. Now this is gonna look pretty douchebaggy. This bit, I ain't gonna lie. Now, if you wanted to, you could re-stretch the image so it looks normal again. Now when you move your camera focus, you won't see all of it. So I click off of it, completely click off of it. It's on fire. It's a bit douchebaggy, you know, it's something to start with. There's a lot of different bugs, there's a lot of different things, you know, I've had accidents on here where I've made some unique things from an accident. But it's made something amazing, you know. It's good fun, you know. You've just got to enjoy what you do. Thinking about it and thinking a bit smartly does help a lot with this kind of stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to share this now. We're going to export as a movie. There's no audio to this, so it won't matter. But you can add audio as well through the audio bar here. You can import songs from iTunes or stuff you've made. Let's make it Apple ProRes 422. This is probably not going to go too far. Right, there's loads of different choices here. HD. Now, I need to figure out what one I want to use more often. Reason for this is it causes me a lot of problems. Apple ProRes 422 works fine, But if you've got a video where you've got two different qualities of video, so if you've got like a 1080p video and a 720p video, and you've got a motion that's got a completely different quality level, it kind of bugs out, and when you try to download it, it doesn't work for them. It won't work. It worked for the computer, but it won't work for them. Their file systems will not be able to do it. Uncompress is also a good option, because you'll be able to actually let YouTube compress them. It's a good idea because they can make it work for their website basically, and it'll work a bit cleaner for them. DVC Pro HD. Let's go for DVC Pro HD. And render. Okay, 3D rendering, lighting. Right, so this will be, the summary will tell you what this will be. So the output will be on QuickTime Player for me. It'll vary. You can send it over to Final Cut Pro depending on what you want. If you put it on ProRes 422, you can actually do that. You can do more with it than just normal stuff. This application and Final Cut Pro and GarageBand, they're very, very, very tightly linked with each other. We're going to call this the flaming name. The flaming name, okay. We're going to put this on desktop. This is only going to be an example video. Right, let's save that. We're going to just let that do its thing. Depends how much stuff's on there, what kind of textures you've got. It will take longer, sometimes less, more. Boom. Right, so if we close this, don't save because we're not going to bother with that. It's just a little summary video. Now we press play, you can see already there's a problem. The camera angle has gone a bit jittery. Now I've unnoticed that before. I'd have moved the camera angle across to here. Let's do it one more time. Press play. And it's running already. There's a lot you can do. Obviously my camera angle was actually a bit titsy, but you know, that's just how it is. That's just a basic motion. There's so much more you can do, guys. This is just saying, this is how quickly put together. 3D rooms are not difficult to make in here. Depends what you're trying to make. I've made boxes in here. I've made toy cars. I've made little boats. Well, I'm exaggerating on the boats, but the rest, yeah. There's loads you can do. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's not something I usually do on this channel, but I have a lot of friends out there that are looking to get into this kind of stuff and looking to do more editing, especially if they're on YouTube channels. Most of them are gamers as well, so it's always good fun. Thank you for watching. This is your boy Boy Gamer, and I'll see you again soon. Have fun for now. 19, 5, 18, 19.